Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. It is Tuesday, March 21st, and we're certainly pleased to have you here tonight. We'll start our meeting by introducing you to your City Council.
Council members Starr.
Here.
Staley.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Erpenbach. Kiley.
Here.
Neitzert.
Present.
Rolfing. Selberg.
Here.
Councilors, thank you very much for being here. Tonight we have leading our invocation Pastor Lars Olsen, who's with First Lutheran Church here in Sioux Falls. Pastor Lars, welcome. I think it's his first visit, and so we're blessed to have you here. What we'd ask is that you stand for the invocation and then remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Lars.
It's my pleasure to be here with you tonight to bless this meeting and to ask for God's presence to be upon you as you do this work of bringing forth care and provision for the people, the city, the citizens, and the guests of Sioux Falls. So thank you for the work you're doing here tonight, and I just have a quick prayer for us, if you would please pray with me. Almighty God, you have blessed each of us with unique gifts and have called us into specific occupations, relationships, and activities using those gifts. Work in this council meeting tonight and enable us to use our talents and our faith in you to communicate your love to the people that we meet every day in every way. Empower us to be your voice of care and reconciliation, of love and hope, and of course of justice. Keep steadfast in our commitment to serve actively in your name through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you very much. Council, now going to move to our consent agenda. Any motions tonight, Councilor Steele?
Mr. Chair, I would like to take the contract and agreement for Parks and Rec to furnish the snowcat groomer, pull that from the consent agenda. Also, item number 50, 51, and 52 concerning property tax abatements.
Councilor Stanley, thank you. We will certainly pull those items and discuss them later. Any other? Yes. Council Vice Chair Kiley?
Move to remove item number 21 from the agenda and to change the address for item number 16 to 1717 South 8th Street and for item number 19 to 1719 South 10th Street.
Second, Erickson.
It's been a motion to remove item 21 and also change the addresses for items 16 and 19. And that was also seconded by Councilor Erickson. Any comments on that motion to amend? A roll call vote on the amendment, please.
Council members Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzert.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. We now have, yes, Councilor?
If you don't mind.
No, please.
There's one other item on the consent agenda that I'd like to remove. It's the third item under the contracts and agreements for the water department, a citywide water main installation from Bennett Street from Cliff Avenue to Blavault Avenue. It's in my district. I should be able to say it correctly, shouldn't I? But if we could pull that one also.
Very good. We will certainly pull that one as well. We have an amended consent agenda. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzert.
Yes. Selberg.
Yes. Council, that has passed 6-0. Our regular agenda tonight, any changes to that?
Move to approve.
Second, Selberg.
Motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzert.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. That has passed 6-0. And Sioux Falls, I'll let you know there's 92 items on tonight's agenda. So let's get started. In Sioux Falls, after the invocation and the pledge and the approval of the agenda, we go to public input. So what that means is that anybody can come forward, speak to the council on really any topic that is of importance to them. If it is an item that's on the agenda later on, we'd ask you to wait for that, please. really just come forward, introduce yourself to the people of our city. Keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, as well as the council would ask that you keep your comments towards a group as a whole versus talking about one particular entity or person or counselor or whatever that would be. So let's get started. Anybody interested in, yeah, welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lon Szymanski. I'm from Sioux Falls. I teach band at Patrick Henry Middle School and Harvey Dunn and Terry Redland Elementary Schools. This is my 21st year teaching, 18th in the Sioux Falls School District. I'm speaking to you tonight regarding the proposed cut from the Sioux Falls Parks and Rec Department to the Summer Youth Band and Summer Singers programs. It was a sad day a few weeks ago when I learned that the city would no longer make these programs available to the students of Sioux Falls. As a band director, I've witnessed the many benefits of these programs for hundreds of students each summer. I've seen students previously lukewarm about band and chorus get fired up after a summer with the program. Most students who do it for 1 year continue for several because they enjoy it so much. While many kids are sitting at home during the summer playing video games, this is an opportunity for these students to get out of the house and do something to better themselves and something they enjoy. It's also a chance for parents to sign their children up for a summer activity at an affordable price. For many years, the band students have been paying $25 for a 6-week session, and they also receive a t-shirt. This has been a great deal for our students' families. I understand the city wanting to keep a check on its budget, but I do not believe this is the place to do it. I do applaud the Sioux Falls School District for being willing to take over the band portion of the program, although it appears that the Summer Singers program will be cut entirely this year. Unfortunately, the price of the summer band with the school district will double, and the t-shirt will no longer be a part of it. There is often a week or more when a family will be out of town and unable to participate with the band or chorus. The reasonable rate in the past has made it worthwhile for a family to sign up, even if they know they'll miss a week or two. But I'm afraid that those families will not sign up with the more expensive fee if they know they'll be out of town for part of it. I also understand that the new plan is to have the band concerts in the parking lot at Edison Middle School rather than the city parks as it has been in the past. I attend many of these concerts, and I always see many community members, many who are not affiliated with the performing students, attend these concerts in the park. I'm pretty certain that these folks, many of whom are senior citizens, will not drive to the Edison parking lot to catch these concerts. So it's also a loss for other citizens as well. Sadly, I predict that this program will wither on the vine in a relatively short amount of time. As I mentioned earlier, I understand the city wanting to keep an eye on its budget. However, I do think there is some discrepancy between the cost per participant that the Parks and Rec Department claims and what the true cost is. Nevertheless, and I believe I can speak for other band and choir directors in the city, as well as students and parents, feel that these programs are too valuable to be cut. The city spends millions on other items. The event center, the city pool, the new multi-million-dollar administration building, all good things, I'm sure. The new Levitt at the Falls program with 50 free concerts each year. Another good thing, although I assume the upkeep costs on that will be in the tens of thousands of dollars annually. And I assume those costs will be coming out of the Parks and Rec Department. Here's another good thing, the mayor's 4th of July picnic and parade. I assume that's another item that does not break even. If those things do not break even, why do we have to make breaking even the standard when it comes to our kids? I hope you'll seriously consider reinstating these two valuable programs. Thanks very much for your time.
Lon, thank you as well. We appreciate it. Welcome. Folks, welcome.
Tim Stanga. A lot of people ask me what affordable housing is in Sioux Falls. And you try to ask people what affordable housing is. Nobody has that. Nobody can tell you what affordable housing is. What really and truthfully affordable housing is when the government comes out and subsidizes a person's rent. That's affordable housing in Sioux Falls. We have nonprofits that knock down houses every year. Matter of fact, I think we got 40 of them on the docket right now that we're taking off the tax roll. And the citizens of Sioux Falls do lose out on this tax revenue. But what I would like to see is the city council and even the mayor's office being able to get a reimbursement fund going. That if houses are tore down, they reimburse the city maybe 2 years of taxes. So they can take that money and reinvest it into affordable housing. Because I know that when we go and tear down houses, to put a new house on, it costs more money than what you really generate after the house is built. So what I would like to do is see that when we tear down a house, have them put it in a reimbursement fund. Then we can take that reimbursement fund and put it as a down payment on the house, so you can keep the price of that house down and a person can afford to live. And I'm just looking at different avenues on how to come out with affordable housing where a person can own a house and say that I own a house and not renting. And I just think that this is a step forward. Thanks.
Mr. Stenga, thank you. Good job. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
My name is Jeff DeYoung. I just figured I'd come up and talk a little bit tonight. We own property over on Arrowhead where we're supposedly going to redo the highway out in front once all the property is acquired for the city. I did finally receive an offer for the land out front. Yeah, I've been patiently waiting. We originally told that the sign date for us signing the papers was Christmas Eve, and that was a deadline. I finally received the paperwork 2 weeks ago. My lawyer is now out of town. He's on vacation for a few weeks. So I guess I waited. I'm hoping that the city's willing to wait that time frame too for my lawyer to get back so we can discuss the issue before we even think about signing anything as far as selling any property. But I just wanted to thank you for having the same patience with me that I've had with you. Thank you.
Mr. DeYoung, thank you as well. Folks, anybody else? Welcome.
Hello again, my name is Stephen Ciano, and last time I was here, I am a disabled homeless veteran for quite some time, since '78, and it's been not recognized. That's been an issue for many years in multiple states, and it's been carrying on until the locals. I've been trying to get to establish and verify what my actual disability is, and I've been getting my medical care lately through Falls Community Health, and they have a homeless outreach program which is supposed to provide, according to what it says, various things, including legal and housing assistance, and essential to anything is obtaining certain records, and I've repeated this, and they have refused, and I would hope that either I can get an explanation or somebody could direct them to do what I see is their job. And they referred the matter when I got a bit stern about it to City Attorney Moran, Human Relations, and she gathered information, and I thought that she understood and was going to help, and then she, for unknown reason, quit. And about service, I want to thank you for your service to the public and whatever you may provide. I want to get back to that. I do live my life in service to my fellow person, and I respect others who do. So you're in a position to help. I have PTSD, compounding Asperger's, and I've been falsely depicted as from not disabled to paranoid and delusional, even incompetent, and deprived of my needs. Thank you.
Stephen, thank you as well, and thanks for your service. We appreciate it. Welcome.
Greetings. My name is David Zokaitis, and I'd like to talk about how we could dedicate our meetings. Now this, of course, kind of presupposes that I'll be mayor in a little over a year, but you got to plan ahead. So I'd like to look at how things happen currently before recommending changes. And currently, it is our practice here to open meetings with a prayer to the Christian God and then a Pledge of Allegiance. So often when you think about these kind of things, you wonder, what about separation of church and state, and how does that relate to prayer at public meetings? So I looked at the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment has a brief mention and just says that Congress shall make no law regarding an establishment of religion. Well, that's all it says. It doesn't say no prayer in public meetings. It says don't make a law. So by that reading of our Constitution, prayer at a public meeting, thoroughly constitutional, quite okay. And then we move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Now I went through our Pledge of Allegiance with a fine-tooth comb. And here's this clause here: we pledge allegiance to the flag and then to the republic. So if you think about that, it's giving more emphasis to the flag than to the people behind the republic. And I happen to think it should be the other way around. We do need loyalty to groups, and we do need loyalty to individuals, and the need for both kinds of loyalty seems to be lost in this pledge. I also thought about the social context of other clauses in our Pledge of Allegiance. This one in particular, one nation under God, sounds really marvelous until you look around and you see all these nasty things that the leadership of our country does, and then we say one nation under God. If this was described as a goal instead of a present reality, I'd be behind it 100%. But to say that our nation is one nation under God, when you look upon wars fought for unjust cause, it doesn't sit very well with me. I also looked at the social context behind the with liberty and justice clause. It's the same kind of problem. Our government protects massively large crimes and prosecutes the teeny-weeny ones. That's not liberty and justice for all. So I've got some issues here. And then I thought, well, you know, we've got an invocation, a prayer, a pledge. Maybe we should mush these together and come up with a dedication instead to simplify things ever so slightly. And of course, I like to take disparate ideas and my analysis and glue it all together and come up with a plan. It's no good to complain. You always have to have a good plan. So when I'm mayor, assuming, of course, that I am mayor, I get to write the first dedication, and it will have some grounded aspirations, some marvelous goals like loyalty, truth, justice, and compassion. And we're not going to fib about saying we have these now, but they will be described as aspirations. And then I've got this great friend of mine who's an atheist and happens to also be my daughter, and I'd like her to write the second dedication. And I don't know any Muslims right now, but I would like to draft one into writing the third dedication. And the goal of all of this is to have a very broad, very open, inclusive government to represent everybody. That's what we need to do. And then for the next 8 months, I'm hoping that we rotate through who's the officiator, so then during those next 8 months, the duty and the honor of taking care of the dedication will go to the officiating counselor. And so that will help with the open, inclusive government frame of mind that I think is so important to us. And I like to close my 5-minute speeches here with some beauty upon the earth, and it's a local picture, and don't forget to keep dreaming and smiling, trying to enjoy life.
David, thank you. Appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Very good. Well, welcome.
Sierra Broussard, Sioux Falls. I've been dealing with some neighborhoods on the issue on affordable housing, tax credit properties. We have a retired teacher, a computer programmer. We have everybody on this council that likes to vote in the best interest of the community. When a council member votes against their community, their district, doesn't mean that they're corrupted. Doesn't mean that we're going to get mad and we're going to get activists that are working in the community to make a living on crime, ring my phones up from one side of the district to another side of the district here. I think affordable housing is good to have in a city. Just because some neighbors might not want it in their district because they might be high society or middle class rich people and don't want to drink beer, but yet they drink the finest wines. I think that these districts that are always complaining about their council members and how they vote, council members go through a lot of stuff with their district, bullying, threats, you name it, I heard it for the last 2 days. I think that when people vote and elect their council member, they need to personally get to know them before they make judgments on this. I'm all for affordable housing if the management group is good. When we have a management group that is not good, that's when that property becomes a nuisance. We're not talking about building projects in people's backyards here. We're building tax credit affordable housing here. Mayor and council, I didn't want to talk about this because I'm trying to be discreet about it the best that I can, but I've been dealing with this for a lot of time here on these issues. So whatever takes place with that, whatever takes place with this parking ramp situation that might come to vote and vote yes or no on it, whatever happened for the building collapse downtown, but I'm going to tell you this. I work in a building that we have a permit to tear down this wall, and I was very paranoid at first. But the city and the state and all of these experts are in this building every other day to make sure that the building's safe, that they take down the wall safely. They have all their permits in order on this. So people being paranoid about a parking ramp being built by a building that so say collapsed. And they thinking that this parking ramp, if it's gonna be built, is gonna collapse also. I witnessed firsthand about a wall that's being taken down and everything that you have to go through to even get a wall down. So I'm assuming that when this is built, or if it isn't built, that this project, they're going to be on top of it, the city, and make sure that it's stable and will not collapse, and the apartment building on top of it here. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for your time, but that's the best way that I can approach this situation here tonight, and hopefully I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Yara. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Very good. Thank you, councilors. Let's now move to should we move to the unfinished, or do you want to go to the
Mr. Mayor, to the consent
Let's
items.
go to the consent items. Thank you. Why don't we start with Councilor Staley? You had some items that you wanted us to pull. One involved Parks and Recreation furnishing snowcat groomer, along with items 50, 51, and 52.
Okay.
Councilor Staley?
Okay, well, I'll just deal with the 50, 51, and 52 first. I pulled those because they were a denial for some tax abatements, and I just wanted to give those people a chance to speak if they would be here. And if they're not here, that's fine. So that was a small little housekeeping thing. Okay, so apparently they're not here. So moving along, I'll go to the snowcat thing.
Okay. So, Councilor, you want to provide, Councilor Staley would like to provide an opportunity for Majid Anatakwa or Brent Veeder or the Jesus Only Apostolic Church. Folks, are you here? Okay, Councilor Staley?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Motion to deny. Is that?
Do you want-
Mr. Mayor, it would actually be, there should be a motion to approve, and you can vote against it.
I'll make a motion to approve items 50, 51, 52.
Very good.
Second, Star.
There's been a motion to approve items 50, 51, and 52. It has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry. Should do a roll call vote. My apologies. Go ahead.
Councilmember Starr,
Yes. Oh, hang on. Sorry. No.
Point of order. I need some clarification of what the vote means, because these, I think, were recommended for denial.
right, so the vote is to approve. We're still approving those items on the consent agenda, and we're approving essentially the denial.
We're approving the denial.
Yes.
So an
Correct.
affirmative
It's just
vote
the
is
way
a
it's-
denial.
Yes.
Okay,
So if
thank
you
you.
vote yes, then you deny.
Thank you. Sorry for the
You're welcome.
interruption.
Tom?
Councilmember Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Neitzer,
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Those items have passed 6-1. Councilor Sealy had another
Okay.
item.
Yes, the second item I pulled was.
Mr. Mayor, if I can really, it was 6-0.
6-0.
Okay. The snowcat groomer from the Parks Department, is there someone here to talk about that?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Kelby Maris with Parks and Recreation.
Okay, so what I wanted to know is, what does this do? What do we have in place right now, and why do we need it, a new one?
Okay. This unit grooms the snow out at Great Bear, not only for the ski hill, but for the tubing hill as well. It's used to prepare the tubing lanes. It's also used to arrange the terrain park elements, the features in the terrain park that to make the jumps and the things for the skiers.
Okay, and what are we using now to do that?
Right now, we're using a piston belly snowcat. It's a 10-year-old unit with just over 7,000 hours. It is in need of replacement. We've put a 10-year life on these for our operations. Right now, one of the biggest things we're facing is that the manufacturer has let us know that between 6,000 and 8,000 hours, the hydraulic pumps and motors on these units begin to fail. And in that case, it's about a $60,000 repair to replace all of these pumps and motors, and those are just part cost, that's not labor cost. So that's one thing that we're looking at right away.
But it still worked this year, correct? You were
Yes,
using it.
It's
still-
operational, yes.
So I guess my concern is that, and I know these come from different pots of money, and I know this isn't your decision, but we've been hearing from people about the cuts that we're doing in the Parks Department that comes out of the operational budget. I have made a request to the Parks Department to know I want a list of all the programs that are being cut, because we haven't been informed about that. But I think it would be prudent right now, when we've got dwindling expenses coming in, or dwindling income coming in. To me, it'd be prudent for us to just back off of this $300,000 expenditure, use what we have for another year or two, and reevaluate this later. So I'm going to be voting no on this. And I know it was in the capital plan, but I think it's prudent, because we're all looking at cuts happening across the board. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Council, any other comments? We are going to do a roll call vote on this particular topic.
Excuse me.
Yes, Stephen?
Can I speak?
It's a consent agenda item. Stephen, we normally don't.
Well, I think we're pulling another item in order for that to happen. I thought that they got to speak during this time. Otherwise, they don't get to address it at all.
Excuse me.
Can a counselor ask for
Yeah, I know. That's why we're waiting to see what happens.
Okay, I'm going to call for a point.
Give him a minute to decide what he's going to do.
a counselor to ask for something? No, I haven't either.
Folks that are watching on TV as well, in my 7 years, we've never had an open session item in terms of involving the public when it came to a consent agenda item, even those that are pulled. And so that's always been the protocol that, you know, we've been using, that I've been following. And so it'd be hard to break that protocol now. I did consult with Council Vice Chair Kiley. He had recommended that we continue on with that normal protocol. My recommendation is that if the council would like to change that, maybe for future meetings, maybe we should discuss that as a team. And then if you want to change that, we could do that maybe going forward. But I am uncomfortable doing that tonight. Council.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Starr.
My limited knowledge of Robert's Rules of Order, that once something's been pulled from the consent agenda, it actually becomes a item on the agenda. That's the purpose of pulling it from the consent agenda, which would allow for debate, would be my understanding. Maybe our parliamentarian or our city attorney that's acting tonight could maybe help us with the ruling.
It's my understanding that the consent agenda is used to have all the items together and do one vote. Pulling it from the consent agenda is simply to allow the council to have more discussion. It really is not a separate resolution or a separate ordinance for the council to consider. And so the position has been taken that additional
I'll
public
solve this
input
real
is-
easily. I don't want to cause a problem. I'll just sit down.
That's not how we want to treat citizens.
No,
That's not a
no.
way that that's the whole idea of taking something from the consent agenda, is to have a chance to
Councilor
discuss
Starr,
it.
I'm just following the direction that I received from the legal counsel. You had recommended that we go to the legal counsel. That's exactly what we did, and I'm just going to follow that direction. And we're not trying to treat a citizen rightly or wrongly. We're just trying to do what is, I guess, appropriate. And so I am going to defer that to our council and to our vice chair, who is our chair tonight. So thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Okay,
So, Councilor, do you
I
have
will-
additional comments on this item, please?
Well, I'm going to appeal your decision.
Second, Star.
Appeal my decision?
Yeah, that is, that's, David Fifley told us we have the protocol. You were gone the night Rex Ralphing was running the meeting. So this is, we can take a vote on allowing for more input. And it also says that we have the right to ask any member to come up.
Very good, very good. Councilor Staley has recommended that we appeal the decision, and it was seconded by Councilor Starr. Very good. Any discussion? Councilor Neitzer.
I guess I have to ask, what exactly are we appealing? What are we what are we voting on?
I'm sorry.
I have Councilor Staley. What are we appealing?
Well, we're appealing the right of a citizen to come up and talk to an item that we've put onto the regular agenda. And this is the only time they have to give input before we vote on it. And I know Councilor Starr was planning on having someone come up with another item that was pulled. So this is their only chance that they have, when it's put into a consent agenda, to give us some input into how they feel about it. So I would say that's good government.
Okay. And Councilor Staley and Councilor Starr, just to be clear, it was not my decision. I'm only following direction I've been given from our legal team. So
Your decision once, as the presiding officer of the meeting, according to Roberts, of my understanding is that you made a decision based on the information that you received from our parliamentarian / city attorney's office. So we have that option to appeal that decision that you made to not take public input on this item.
your knowledge of Robert's rules are obviously better than mine. So we'll follow your advice there, Councilor Starr. And do you have a good indication of what we're appealing, Councilor Neitzer, with your question?
I guess we're voting to allow a citizen to come up and speak on I hope it's the item we're talking about. I'm not even clear if this person was going to talk about the item in question, so
Yes.
I'm still a bit unclear. But
Very good, and I think that's fair, Councilor Neitzer, I do. Councilor Vice Chair Kiley.
Mr. Mayor, could we have clarification once again from Attorney Best on the process and the procedure once it's pulled from the consent agenda? Is it truly become a regular agenda item?
My understanding of the consent agenda process is the consent agenda itself is a one vote matter and the council does not discuss it. So it pulls out certain matters from the consent agenda for the purposes of council discussion and answering any questions the council may have. It's not a resolution or ordinance that requires public input.
But they can ask questions.
Very good.
Thank you.
A first in my 7 years as your mayor, but it sounds good and it's appropriate. So we are what's it called, an appeal?
Voting to appeal the decision of the chair.
Voting to appeal the decision of the chair. Very good. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kiley,
No.
Neitzer,
yes.
Selberg. No.
That is passed 4-2. So Tom or Diane, what would you recommend that we do?
It appears that the council has determined that it's appropriate to go ahead and allow public input on this particular matter.
Very good. Stephen, please come forward and give us your public input.
While I'm a citizen, I also work for you. I'm the president of the nonprofit organization that manages Great Bear Recreation Park pursuant to a management contract with the city. I just want to say very quickly, we have hundreds of children at Great Bear, sometimes every day. Every Friday, for instance, we have several hundred fifth graders. We know from experience, we've been managing the park for 26 years, and I can guarantee you that after about 9 years, this particular piece of equipment starts to fall apart. And you don't just go to the Ford dealer to get parts. I mean, they're enormously expensive. They take a great deal of time, and they're very intricate in installing. So we don't function without this machine. We're its captive. And so when it doesn't work, we don't work. And so it's just not something, well, let's just put it off and we'll be fine. We won't be fine. We've learned twice by experience that it shuts us down and costs a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. We appreciate that. Councilor Staley, Councilor Starr, any other comments that you'd want someone to make?
No, but I'm just going to make a comment that I'm certainly not saying children shouldn't be able to use the snow hill, but I do still stand by my first statement that we need to look at this with the same eyesight that we're looking at everything that we're spending our money on in our community. So thank you for your input.
Very good. Yes, Councilor Vice Chair Kiley.
You know, I was thinking earlier, and I certainly understand where Councilor Staley's coming from regarding cutting programs that especially affect children. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I want to protect those. But on the other hand, with this particular item, if it should break down and it's not of use to us, it's effectively cutting out all of our snow sports activities as well, too. So I would approve or urge approval of this item.
Very good. Thank you. A roll call vote, and this is only on the Snowcat Groomer contract.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been a motion to approve this item. It has been seconded. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
No.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Neitzer,
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
That has passed 5-1. There was another item that Councilor Starr wanted to discuss. It was the third item on the consent agenda, the citywide water main installation, Bennett Street from Cliff Avenue to Blauvelt Avenue. Councilor Starr?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Welcome.
The reason I pulled this from the consent agenda is that I watch these contracts and agreements rather closely as we get bids that are high or low and kind of how they fit the estimate of where they fit into our budget and things. Attorney Best sent us an email at 10 to 5 this afternoon expressing some concern or informing us of the concern that this bid for this item or this project isn't going to the lowest bidder. It's going to the second lowest bidder at an additional cost of $27,967.44. So I wanted to at least discuss that we're not taking the low bidder as we move forward, and if there's anyone if Attorney Best wants to add to that, I'd appreciate the reason we're not taking the low bidder, and then if there's anybody that wants to address that, if that's possible.
Diane, would you mind addressing this item? Councilor Starr would want to know if there's any stuff we should add to the conversation.
Yes, I can very briefly address it. The matter actually has been the subject of court action already, and the circuit court has not ruled. The circuit court did rule last week on a similar matter and ruled in favor of the city that that particular bid could be rejected by the city. And this is the same contractor, and the same sort of case is currently pending in the circuit court. Having said that, though, I can give you some background on why the Public Works Department is recommending the second low bidder. The bidder...
Diane, before you, Councilor Starr, do you recommend that Diane continue? Is that what you would like?
I think we have enough history from that part. If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, if there's anyone that we could go ahead and hear from, whether it's the low bidder or if there's anyone else that wants to provide any input of the other side of the story.
Okay. You have the history. You don't want the City of Sioux Falls citizens to know the history?
I'd be glad to hear her side, or the city side as well, too. In the interest of time, I think most of us have gotten the email and have the background from the administration side that maybe the low bidder and their attorney may want to address us and give us their side of the story. If you think it's prudent, I'd be glad to listen to what Attorney Best has to move forward and tell both sides of the story to the public.
Attorney Best, Councilor Starr brought this item to the citizens' attention. Continue.
I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, and I would note that the Director of Public Works is here, and he's available to answer any questions you would have.
So what were the reasons for the...
This matter was considered very carefully by Public Works. The reasons are that the low bidder, and the low bidder can identify themselves and provide their own position on this matter, but the low bidder in this matter it's recommended that they be denied because of their substantial failure to complete an existing project that began in 2016, was due to be completed in September of 2016, and it is still not completed. The work had to be suspended over the winter, and it will be completed yet this year. So existing project that is not been completed. In addition, there's another project that began in 2014 involving a workmanship issue and sanitary sewer line that did not meet city specifications. That particular matter is a matter of a legal dispute that is set for mediation at this time. And then finally, the third matter are multiple failures to provide safe trenches for the city's water main tapping crews. The city crews have actually refused to enter trenches prepared by this construction company due to not meeting OSHA standards. There were several discussions with the construction company, and unfortunately, and those occurred both along with various construction projects and also as part of this current dispute. So that has been an ongoing concern for the last couple of years. For those three reasons, the Public Works Department determined that it would be best that that the lowest bidder was not the responsible bidder, and to proceed with the second lowest bidder.
Councilor Starr.
Thank you. If I may, Mr. Mayor, I believe Mr. Healy from Meyer Henry Sargent would like to address us and fill us in on the other side of the story, if you don't mind.
And, sir, I apologize before you begin. Diane, do you recommend we go through the entire thing that we just went through again, or what do you recommend? It's another consent agenda item. Do we have to go through the voting again, or can we just proceed?
Mr. Mayor, it's up to you. Just proceed, yes.
Councilor Vice Chair Kiley, what do you recommend, sir?
I'll
follow your direction.
I'm just thinking that if we can proceed in such a way where the low bidder isn't identified, because I don't think it's the purpose of the majority of this council anyway to disclose that information or to shame anybody in this process, and I think that's very sensitive information. So I would just caution you moving forward.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Chris Healy. I'm here on behalf of that low bidder. Our request to the council tonight is not that the contract be awarded to the low bidder, or even that it not be awarded to the second low bidder who the council is considering. Our request to the city council is that this matter, as Ms. Best mentioned, is on appeal in the circuit court in Minnehaha County. That appeal was brought pursuant to the city's bid instructions, which dictate the appeal be brought in the circuit court. Due to the time-sensitive nature of bid letting, getting into our busy judicial system in the Second Circuit, we aren't able to ask the court for a temporary restraining order or preliminary injunction to stop the awarding of this bid. So I am here on behalf of the low bidder, requesting only that the council table this item, table awarding the contract until the appeal can have a fair hearing in the circuit court, be decided on its merits with due respect to Ms. Best's characterization. The hearing that was held in the circuit court a week ago was on a prior bid that was not denied, that was not given to the low bidder. That was a $23,000 difference between the low bid, and it might have been closer to $20,000, but this is a $27,000 difference on this bid. And we're here asking only that the city table this matter. There's obviously a good faith dispute over some prior work that was done on behalf of the city, but this matter deserves a meaningful day in court, and if the contract is awarded, my client cannot come back and receive damages, even if the court finds them to be a responsible bidder and that they should have been awarded the bid. If the contract is awarded, their remedy and the remedy of the taxpayers, the City of Sioux Falls, is in effect gone. So we're asking that the council preserve the status quo, not award the contract tonight, and wait and see what the circuit court decides after a full and fair hearing on the matter. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. David.
Thank you, Mayor. Dave Feifley is the city attorney. My apologies. I was watching my daughter's chorus concert. Thank you, Diane. Briefly, City Council, according to state law, we have to award a bid within 30 days. This is your last scheduled meeting before the expiration of those 30 days. The court hearing that was held last week involved a request by them for a preliminary injunction, meaning the court would stop things as they are. Specifically litigated was whether this particular bidder was a responsible bidder. State law allows the city, as a receiving party of bids, to declare someone to be non-responsible and they have redress in circuit court. They sought it last week. One of the factors that a court considers is whether there is a likelihood of success on the merits. Obviously, that augured into the decision of whether to grant that injunction. It was denied. I would encourage you tonight not only to follow the state law, but respect the several professional engineers that are on city staff that have made a very careful and conscientious determination that this is a non-responsible bidder. Out of the probably 600 or 700 bids that have occurred over the last 4 years, this is the first time in those number of bids where we've had to declare someone a non-responsible bidder. It is certainly not something taken lightly. It is something taken very seriously by the entire engineering staff, and I will assert to you also that the City Attorney's Office fully supports this because we independently had 2 attorneys verify the evidence, verify the opinions of our own professional engineers on city staff, and to our satisfaction, between 2 attorneys that have 60 years of practice experience, this met the definition of a non-responsible bidder. So I would encourage you to adopt this tonight, award it to the next low bidder who is deemed the lowest responsible bidder, and not violate state law on when a bid is to be awarded. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Can I get a motion to approve just to continue the discussion?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second, Kylie.
On a motion to approve, it has been seconded. Any further discussion on this matter? Councilor Staley?
Well, and I wanted to say that we have our own attorney, Fifely, enjoying this public input time, so I'm glad that we were able to do that. Secondly, I did ask Director Cotter to give us an informational at some point about this lowest responsible bidder process, because I wasn't aware of this. It's a relatively new thing that they've incorporated into our city, and I certainly never want to have the sense that a citizen or a business is having any kind of retribution against them, and we're the ones who are signing off on these contracts. So I'm hoping going forward we're going to get that should be a public discussion about how those things are determined and what they can do to remedy out the non-responsible label that we would be giving to them. Thank you.
Councilor Selberg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would it be appropriate to ask Director Cotter a quick question?
Yes.
Mark.
Thank you,
Mark
sir.
Cotter with the Office of Public Works.
Is it my understanding from the correspondence that we've seen over quite some time here on this issue that the party in question, the business in question, not only had an issue on not just one time, including safety issues, which maybe can happen, not just 2 times, including safety issues, which maybe can happen, but over 3 or 4 times?
Yes, 3 to 4 projects, which then throughout the course of those projects, it's multiple times. And so that was one of the key factors of why we moved to the next, what we believe is the lowest responsible bidder.
Thank you.
Councilor Neitzer?
I'm just going to say for my part, I'm going to vote based on what I think I have to follow the law, and I'm going to make 0 judgment as to who's right or who's wrong. That's to be adjudicated somewhere else. That's above my pay grade. I'm just going to try to follow the law on this vote.
Councilor, thank you. Council Vice Chair Kylie?
And I would just like to say further to that, this isn't a new process. It's a process that's rarely used. And it's in place for the protection of the citizens of Sioux Falls to make sure that the work is done, quality work, that it's safe work, and that it's providing the materials and craftsmanship that should be provided at the time. So I encourage everyone to approve this agenda item. Thank you.
A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
No.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 5-1. Item number 65.
Item 65, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Smokehouse Partners Incorporated, Cody's Smokehouse, 6401 South Louise Avenue, cup not required, pending permit issuance and final inspection for fire, health, and building services. Item 66, new 2017 retail wine license for Smokehouse Partners Incorporated, Cody's Smokehouse, 6401 South Louise Avenue, cup not required, pending permit issuance and final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Transfer of 2017 retail liquor license with Sunday sales certificate and video lottery terminals from SHS LLC, 221 South Phillips Avenue, Suite 100 to Carpenter Bar LLC, Carpenter Bar, 215 South Phillips Avenue, cup not required, pending permit issuance and final inspections per Health, Fire, and Building Services. Item 68, transfer of 2017 retail liquor license with Sunday sales certificate and video lottery terminals from Shane Haven Hospitality, LLC, Bogtrotters Irish Pub, Grub and Tap, 201 East 11th Street, to Blarney Stone Pub, SF, LLC, Blarney Stone Pub, 329 South Phillips Avenue, cup not required, pending permit issuance and final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Special one-day malt beverage license for Siouxland Heritage Museums to be operated at the Pettigrew Home and Museum, 131 North Duluth Avenue, for a History Happy Hour on March 23, 2017. Item 70, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license for Prairie Pasta Incorporated, Johnny Carino's, to be operated at First Dakota National Bank, 6109 South Old Village Place, for an open house on April 4, 2017. Item 71, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license for Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation to be operated at carsforsale.com, 2500 Southwest Lake Drive, for a fundraiser on May 4, 2017. Item 72, special one-day liquor license for Philanthropy Promotions Incorporated, J&L Harley Davidson, to be operated at Falls Park West, park area north of the Sioux Falls Park and Recreation Office leading to Falls Park along Phillips Avenue, with a north boundary of Falls Park Drive, south boundary to 8th Street, east boundary to the chain link fence on the east side of Falls Park West. The street will be closed on 6th Street from Dakota to Weber Avenues and west boundary of Dakota Avenue for Hot Harley Nights on July 8, 2017.
Jamie?
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Items 65 and 66 are for the same location. It's a retail malt and retail wine license for a new restaurant that is coming. It will be pending your approval, of course, and the final inspections. Item 67 is a request to transfer a liquor license to a new location. Item 68 is the same, a retail liquor license to a new location. And items 69 through 72 are special one-day events. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know there are a couple applicants in the crowd, too, if you have questions for them.
Move to approve, Erickson.
Thank you. Councilor
Second,
Erickson's made a motion to approve these items, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Kiley. If there is no discussion, roll call, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Thanks, Council. Item 73.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by amending Chapter 96, Streets and Sidewalks, Subchapter Sidewalk and Driveway Approach Construction.
Good evening, Shannon Verhey from the Engineering Division of Public Works. And item number 73 is also a coordination item with item number 89, the resolution to approve our engine and design standards. And from a big picture perspective, we're updating our requirements to comply with the most current best practices to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And just to summarize each of the changes in the ordinance, 96051, it clarifies the type of work covered by this ordinance and that the work's performed under the direction of the city engineer in accordance with our design standards and specifications. 96052 clarifies that a separate sidewalk and driveway permit is not needed when you have a building permit. Before, there was some ambiguity that if you had a building permit, if you need a separate sidewalk or approach permit. 96053 requires an inspection to be made within 2 business days after that sidewalk or approach that's installed in the right-of-way. They have to request an inspection. And then 96051, 55, and 57 is just housekeeping items. We're deleting redundant sections. And then just some overview of where we've been. IRAB has approved all these changes at their December 2016 meeting. And then we also presented this topic at the January and February Land Use Committee meetings, and then also at the March 14th informational meeting. And then we also have the Home Builders Association. We have their cooperation on the changes we're proposing. And then the ADA Accessibility Review Board is supportive of these changes. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Shannon, thank you very much. Folks, second reading. Did anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors?
Move to approve Erickson.
Second, Staley.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve this item, second by Councilor Selberg. Is there any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Councilors, that is passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 74.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota authorizing the issuance of its health facilities revenue bonds, Dow Rummel Village Project, Series 2017, an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $37 million for the purpose of providing funds to be loaned to Dow Rummel Village, a South Dakota nonprofit corporation, for the purpose of financing a renovation and expansion project, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of a first supplemental indenture of trust, a first supplemental loan agreement, a first supplement to amended and restated mortgage, 180-day redemption, security agreement and fixture financing statement, a bond purchase agreement, a continuing disclosure agreement, and a tax regulatory agreement, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of the bonds and certain related documents, making certain findings and determinations with respect to the bonds, and providing for the security, rights, and remedies of the holders of the bonds.
Good evening, Tracy.
Good evening. Tracy Turback with the Finance Office. If approved, this ordinance would give the city's consent to Dow Rummel Village to access the tax-exempt bond market for the purpose of financing their renovation and expansion project. I believe the council's been pretty well informed on this project, so I won't go into the details, but I will stand by for any questions you have.
Thank you, Tracy. Folks, again, second reading. Anybody want to engage the council on this topic?
Move to approve Erickson.
Councilor Erickson?
Second, Staley.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve this item, second by Councilor Staley. Any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 75, please.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 75. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the northwest corner of East 26th Street and South Cliff Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential, Suburban O Office, and C1 Commercial pedestrian-oriented districts to the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District, petition number 4674-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
Councilor Erickson, yes.
I need to recuse myself.
Councilor Erickson is going to recuse herself from this item. Thank you. Welcome.
Jason Bieber representing Planning and Building Services. This is an application by Eric Willardson. The owner is Tom Howes with I-90 Fuel Services. It's located at the northwest corner of East 26th Street and South Cliff Avenue. The property in question is about 1.4 acres. The purpose of this rezoning is to raise the existing gas station that's immediately at the intersection of 26th and Cliff. And then construct a new gas station with pumps and push it to the northwest of the site. Level C buffer yard will be required along the west property line. This will include a 15-foot setback, a 4-foot berm or 6-foot fence, and also 30 units of landscaping for every 100 lineal feet.
Thank you, Jason. Council, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th for this item?
Move to set a date of hearing for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Second.
Councilors, thank you for doing that. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Nitzert?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 5-0. Item 76.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 76. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southeast corner of South Southeastern Avenue and East 69th Street from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar, RA2 Apartment Residential, Moderate Density O Office, and AG Agriculture Districts to the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar, LW Live Work, and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban Districts, petition number 6120-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Damian Grable. This is located at the southeast corner of 69th and South-Southeastern Avenue, southeast of the existing roundabout. It's roughly 12.2 acres. The purpose of this rezoning is to construct a future commercial, office, and residential development.
Jason, thank you very much. Councilors?
Move to set the second reading for Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Selberg.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson. Thank you, Councilor Selberg. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
That is passed 5-0. Council, item 77.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 77. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 201 North Kiwanis Avenue from the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District to the C3 Commercial Community District, petition number 6244-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Ryan Fries, representing Thunder Road. It's at 201 North Kiwanis Avenue. It's roughly 7.47 acres in size. The purpose of this specific rezoning is they're looking at constructing a new building greater than 25,000 square feet for some additional indoor recreation for the whole development, and also some additional parking spaces to the west of the existing parking lot.
Jason, thank you.
Move to set the second reading for Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Nitzert.
Thank you. Councilor Erickson's made that motion to set the date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Nitzert. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 78.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 78. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located east of South Sycamore Avenue, north of East Taylor Street, and west of South Capitol Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District. Petition number 6256-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Mike Schultz. It's roughly 0.2 acres in size. It's currently a vacant lot. The purpose of this rezoning is to construct a twin home on this existing vacant lot.
Jason, thank you.
Move to set the second reading for Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Staley.
There's been a motion to set the date of hearing by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Staley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 79, please.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 79. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located west of South 6 Mile Road and future East 45th Street from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District and RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban Districts, petition number 6313-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Clint Ackerman with Signature Companies. It's roughly 7.93 acres in size. The purpose of this rezoning is to construct a future twin home and townhome residential development.
Move to set the reading for Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Staley.
There's been a motion to set the date of hearing by Councilor Erickson, seconded by Councilor Staley. Yes, Councilor Starr,
That's
absolutely.
one quick question. Jason, does this fit as the way we're looking at the ag land, and when I'm looking at the rest of the map, that we're not getting ourselves into another situation as it, as neighborhoods transition to single-family housing eventually, or, all the discussions we've had lately. Does this fit that as a planning staff, that it's not going to get us into trouble further down the road?
Yeah, it'll actually probably provide a better transition than what we have right now. That ag land that's at the intersection of 41st and 6 Mile, we are kind of thinking in the future that that's going to be maybe some office or some multifamily at that point. And then you'll go to the townhomes and then to the twin homes and then to the existing single family to the south there. So it should all flow pretty well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Kylie,
Yes.
Nitzert, Selberg.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 80.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 80. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located south of West Landscape Place, west of South Minnesota Avenue, and north of South Garden Court from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban, C2 Commercial, Neighborhood and Streetcar, and RS Single Family Residential Suburban Districts to the CN Conservation and O Office Districts. Petition number 6319-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Preston Metler. This specific lot is located northwest of the existing landscape garden centers, as you can see there. It's roughly 2.5 acres in size, and the purpose of this rezoning is the applicant is looking at constructing a multi-tenant office building on the O portion of it, and then also there's some existing drainage areas that are zoned residential, so he's looking at just getting those into conservation so they can be used for drainage.
Thanks, Jason.
Move to set the date to Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Salberg.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson. Thank you, Councilor Selberg. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 81, please.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 81. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located east of Veterans Parkway and west of Silverthorne Avenue from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District. Petition number 6320-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Braden Nieces. The owner is Good Samaritan Society. This is located south of East 26th and east of South Veterans Parkway. The purpose of this is to construct a 192-unit apartment complex. We'll get to the concept plan here. They're looking at indicating 4 buildings with 96 units per building with 3 stories, a clubhouse on the north portion of it, and then also planning 436 parking spaces, including roughly 108 of them garage spaces. The 2.23 acres that they're looking at rezoning, they will then combine that with the existing 9.47 acres that's already zoned RA2, zoned correctly, to create this apartment complex that'll be roughly 11.7 acres for development.
Jason, thank you.
Move to set the second reading to Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Salberg.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to set the date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Selberg. A roll call. Yes, Councilor Staley, sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any pushback from anyone on this?
We did have some questions from the neighbors to the east. I have talked to that gentleman several times and a couple of other neighbors to the north. They've been working with the developer of this property to possibly push one of the accesses to the north. That was really their main concern. With discussing it with them and with talking with them, they kind of understand that this specific development can probably be constructed without the rezoning. I kind of did a little map here just to kind of show you the size of the actual area that they're rezoning. They could push this south a little farther and possibly do it without even rezoning the property. So I think the neighbors are kind of understanding that this way at least they're putting the 196 units on 11.7 acres instead of 9.47 acres. So we're going to be getting a little bit more traffic information for Silverthorne that we should have at the second reading, but I think there may be a few of them that may come and voice some concerns, but I think a lot of them in that neighborhood are starting to understand a little bit more. So.
Thank you.
A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 82, please.
Mr. Mayor, I need to recuse myself on
Councilor
82.
Erickson's going to recuse herself. Thank you, Councilor.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 82. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at south of East 24th Street, east of South 10th Avenue, and west of South Cliff Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban and O Office Districts to the S2 Institutional Campus PUD District, petition number 6337-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Eric Wilson. The owner is Avera McKinnon Hospital. This may look a little familiar. This is directly adjacent to the north of item 75 where the gas station is going to go. It's roughly 1.6 acres in size. These properties are all currently owned by Avera McKinnon. They do have an existing parking lot on the current portion that's zoned office. They are looking at just zoning this as part of their major campus, and then hopefully we will get initial development plan for the entire campus down the line.
Councilors, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th for this item?
So moved.
Second, Starr.
Thank you, Councilor Vice Chair Kiley. Thank you, Councilor Starr. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 5-0. Item 83.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 83. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 1740 South St. Michael Circle from the O Office District to the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District. Petition number 6345-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Midwest Fidelity Partners. The owner is St. Michael's Parish. It's roughly 1.53 acres in size. The purpose of this specific rezoning is they are looking at constructing, I believe, a third or fourth location for a Silver Star Car Wash on this site.
Jason, thank you.
Move to set the second reading for Tuesday, April 4th.
Second, Staley.
Thank you. There's been a motion to set that date of hearing and has been seconded. Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 84, please.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 84. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located north of West 41st Street and west of Lancaster Drive from the RS Single Family Residential, Suburban CN Conservation, and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban Districts to the RS Single Family Residential, Suburban CN Conservation, and RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban Districts, petition number 6350-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant here is Damian Grable. The owner is Westwood Valley Partners. It's roughly 0.8 acres in size of the area that they're rezoning. We can kind of see on this rezoning comparison, they're really just shifting some areas of conservation with some areas of single family and twin home, some very minor adjustments to their existing development.
Council?
Move to set the date to Tuesday, April 4th for second reading.
Second, Selberg.
There's been a motion to set the date of hearing. It has been seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 85.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 85. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at 1801 South Bonson Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District, petition number 6353-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Gary Haar. As you can see, this one is located directly at the southwest corner of 26th Street and South Bonson Avenue. It's roughly 0.39 acres in size. The purpose of this request is to raise the existing house, and then they're looking at constructing another apartment building on it, and then they will incorporate that into the existing apartment complexes, removing accesses from Bonson and 26th Street.
Move to set the date to Tuesday, April 4th for second reading.
Second, Kiley?
Thank you. Councilor Erickson's made that motion. Councilor Vice Chair Kiley has seconded that. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 86.
Set a date, set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, April 4th, 2017 at 7 p.m. for item 86. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property located at the southeast corner of East Mulberry Street and North Sherman Avenue from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the I-1 Light Industrial District. Petition number 6354-2017, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 5-0.
The applicant and owner here is Lionel Cheddar. It's roughly 1.33 acres in size. It is located east of North Cliff Avenue and north of East Rice Street. You can see here by the aerial that it's been used as light industrial storage yard for the business to the west for some time. The applicant is just looking at rezoning this to light industrial to make the lots conforming. You can see there's some significant mature trees that blocks this specific use from the residential to the south and to the east.
Thanks, Jason.
Move to set the second reading for Tuesday, April 4th.
Second.
There's been a motion to set the date of hearing and it has been seconded. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 87.
Continue hearing from the City Council meeting of February 6, 2017. A resolution declaring the necessity to construct sidewalk on East Arrowhead Parkway and assessing the cost to each lot or tract of land benefiting thereby.
Mark, good evening.
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. This is the second reading, and we're here to answer your questions. We just recently went through an informational session after we developed a new flow chart with Councilor Neitzer, and hopefully that clarified that it's an objective process on sidewalk assessments on arterial streets. I know Jeff DeYoung is here, and so he certainly may choose to speak. And we're also here to answer your questions. This first stage, again, is a resolution of necessity. And so this is always key to formally notifying property owners that they qualify through that objective process to be assessed for sidewalk. There are some properties on both projects tonight. The next one is 69th and Western that through means of incentivizing access, they have choices to make as they develop their property, which then also provides a guide on whether sidewalk is assessed or not. And so anyway, we are here to answer your questions. Hopefully the presentation recently was helpful. And again, certainly don't hesitate to ask us questions.
Mark, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Jeff DeYoung. I understand the fact that sidewalk is going to go in to it. I just wish in the long run that I'd have got a straight answer to start with. My first response on paying for the sidewalk was I wouldn't have to pay for it. At the city council meeting a while back, I found out you're going to try and assess us. Then I found out, well, so if I don't have private access, you know, like a private drive going out to it, I was fine. Well, I've got a city street. Well, now with this flow chart that come about, I find, once again, we'll be paying for sidewalk. You know, I just wish that we could have cut it all out and basically had the right answer to start with. So I'd have known the right answer that I was going to pay for, we were going to pay for sidewalk at the beginning. It's not trying to reflect bad on anybody. It's just the idea. I've gotten different answers at different times from different council, city administrative people at City Hall to it. It's cost me money in the past because I've just had something designed one way, only to find out that I made a mistake, was what the city official told me. I made a mistake. Well, I just spent $3,000 on engineering, and now that's all just thrown in the trash. I don't like that. I'd like a straight answer to start with. That's the reason I'm trying to get stuff in writing now from the city. But I do understand now that, yeah, the sidewalk is going to go from everything I've got, the sidewalk we will pay for to it. But it's just the idea. Let's get a straight answer to start with the first time. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Anybody else want to engage the council? Councilors, Councilor Neitzer.
Yeah, I would just say what the director spoke about has really helped me, and I hope and I think everybody else in understanding that it's a fair process. Everybody's treated the same. And there's an acknowledgement that communication maybe fell apart in a few cases, but it's been improved, and we've corrected that. And I think hopefully going forward we all understand what the ground rules are, and that they can make, on these arterials, they can make those value judgments of, do I want to maintain access? You know, that might be part of my business model and pay for the sidewalk, or maybe I would be willing to close it off. But they at least can make that decision. It's a business decision. So I really commend the director and the department for coming up with that flow chart and really helping me, and I hope the rest of the council, particularly us new ones, to understand. That was a big part for me, is I couldn't answer those questions for citizens. There was a lot of confusion, but I think it's been cleared up, and they've reached out to those individual property owners to make them, to really kind of talk to them about how it works and what their decision-making process is. So I would be happy to move approval.
Second, Erickson.
There's been a motion to approve this resolution by Councilor Neitzer, second by Councilor Erickson. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie? Yes. Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 88.
Continue hearing from the City Council meeting of February 6, 2017. A resolution declaring the necessity to construct sidewalk on Southwestern Avenue and assessing the cost to each lot or tract of land benefiting thereby.
Mark?
This is a companion item to the last item, very similar. It's another key arterial street project that we intend to construct in 2017. This one actually bids on Thursday of this week, and we stand by here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Is there anybody who wanted to speak to this particular item? Councilors?
Move approval, Starr.
Second, Kylie.
Councilor Starr's made a motion to approve this resolution, second by Councilor Vice Chair Kylie. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Item 89.
A resolution amending the City of Sioux Falls engineering design standards.
Shannon?
Shannon Verhey from the Engineering Division, and here to talk about the proposed changes to Chapter 11, 12, 5, and 8, and 16 of our engineering design standards. And some background, same slide you've seen earlier. IRAB's approved all these changes, had quite an extensive discussion at our land use and informational meetings. HBA is supportive of these changes, and the ADA Accessibility Board is supportive of these changes. Just a high-level summary. Chapter 5 is just a minor clarification on a sidewalk grade. Chapter 8, the sidewalk design standards are being removed from this section and placed into Chapter 16. Chapter 11 is drainage improvements. Just updated the reference for the design standards for the outlet structure design and added design criteria for outlet protection. And then Chapter 12, they made some modifications to the sides of the riprap to reduce erosion and help with maintenance. Chapter 16, basically we are complying with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. We're incorporating PROAG standards, which are the latest and greatest current best practices. And the majority of this chapter that we're proposing is just formalizing the current standards and practices. As we talked about, though, in informational in the Land Use Committee meetings, there are a few changes, including dual curb ramp designs that we're moving toward. Some additional information is needed on intersection design. We had quite a discussion about passing zones and got a pretty good plan moving forward with how we're going to incorporate them into the driveways. And then also needing some additional design detail to make sure we're compliant with the ADA. And then also, lastly, want to kind of summarize that we're doing an extensive public outreach so we can make sure we communicate this. We're going to be getting out over 900 emails or letters to the HBA and to our contracting community. And then we're also going to have an educational packet that goes out with every home building permit that gets, or every building permit that gets taken out, as well as we're conducting training with the HBA in April of this year. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Shannon, thank you, folks. This is another resolution. Did anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors?
Move to approve Erickson.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second.
Councilor Vice Chair, thank you. For the second, any discussion? Councilor Vice Chair Kelly.
I would just like to thank Shannon. I know Shannon, I've mentioned this before, you get all the glamorous items here, you know, engineering design standards, but you do such a good job of analyzing them and reviewing them and updating them, and you do an even better job at answering the council's questions and addressing our concerns. So thank you very much.
Councilor Vice Chair Kelly, thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 90.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota approving the placement of sculptures on public property for an internationally recognized visual arts program known as Sculpture Walk Sioux Falls 2017.
Russ, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Councilors, and Sioux Falls citizens. My name is Russ Sorensen, Urban Planner with the City Planning Office. At the Council's informational meeting this afternoon, the 2017 Sculpture Walk program was unveiled to you by Executive Director Jim Clark. He's done a fantastic job. As of to date, over 666 sculptures have been displayed in our downtown area. 168 of those have been sold. For the 2017 program, there were 120 entries. And it is, again, an international program, as Jim indicated before. And we've got 57 sculptures with 13 alternates. The several city departments, thanks to them in their reviews, the Human Services and the ADA Accessibility Review Board, Public Works, Engineering, Risk Management, and the Planning, along with our Visual Arts Commission, conducted their respective reviews and unanimously recommend approval of the 2017 Sculpture Walk program. If you recall that from May through September, the public votes for the People's Choice Award, and that the sculpture is purchased by the city up to $20,000. And the sculptures for 2016 will be taken down in April, and the new sculptures would be installed in May, pending your action to this evening. That concludes our report. Thank you.
Russ, thank you as well. Appreciate it. Folks, anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Councilors?
Move to approve.
Second, Erickson.
Council Vice Chair Kylie has made a motion to approve this resolution, seconded by Councilor Erickson. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Citizens of Sioux Falls, we're on item number 91.
A resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards, those being Stephen Jackson, Board of Historic Preservation, Amy Pocola, City Naming Committee, Susan Blake, Falls Community Health Center Governing Board, Ivy Oland, Visual Arts Commission.
Councilors, any thoughts?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second, Kylie.
Councilor Erickson has made a motion to approve this resolution, seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Kylie. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 92.
Report of the March 10th, 2017 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within Major Organizational Units.
Thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I could have a personal privilege?
Please.
12 years ago tonight, in about 30 minutes, I guess it was 12 years ago, my husband and I welcomed our first son, Anthony Paul Erickson. He was born 9 pounds, 10 ounces, a big kid. And so I'm sure he's watching at home right now. So just want to say happy birthday, Anthony.
Yeah, happy birthday, Anthony. Proud mom, proud dad, that's for sure. Great job. Citizens of Sioux Falls, it is about 8:32, and we've just gone through 92 items, plus a happy birthday as well. We threw that in, which is great. So citizens, your council is working their tail off for limited funds, and they're doing a great job. Would anybody want to get out of here, though?
Second.
It's been a motion to adjourn this meeting, and it has been seconded as well. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned, Sioux Falls. Make it a great, great night.